this can be P itself, right? So, I look at the probability of a data point in M, region M belonging to class K, which is PMK, right. Not talking politics, but so you estimate that by just counting the number of data points of class K in region M and dividing it by the total number of data points, right. That is fairly straightforward. This is how I do the prediction, right. So, what about how do I grow a tree to do classification? It is exactly the same as this, except that I do not use squared error, right. Can I use squared error? Why not?
You would not want to, because like one misclassification is not worse.
Exactly. So, it depends on how I encode it, right. I mean earlier in the linear regression we were kind of faking it by encoding it as indicator variables or whatever, right. So, here I am going to have actual outputs, right. I can still look at the distance of the prediction vector to the indicator variable vector, right, and try to do that, right. I can still do that, but there are better ways of doing it, right. So, the first thing I can use is the misclassification error. So, I will denote by K of M the class label that I am going to assign to the entire region M, right, just like we did C hat M as the response that I am going to assign for the entire region M. So, K of M is the class label I am going to assign for the entire region M, okay, that just is the argmax of this, okay. So, now the misclassification error is I am going to count all the data points in Rm which do not have K of M as their label, right, that is the misclassification error, right. So, all those data points the label I will be outputting is K of M, right, for all the data points in Rm I will be outputting K of M as the label. So, all the data points in Rm which do not really have K of M as their label are misclassified, right, and divide by the total number of data points, that gives me the average misclassification error, okay. Is there some way to simplify this? 1 minus Pm Pm K of M, right. So, because the fraction of data points that will be correctly classified are Pm K of M, right, because the true label is K of M, I am outputting K of M, they will be correctly classified, right. So, the fraction that will be misclassified is 1 minus Pm K of M, okay. So, that is a misclassification error. So, how do I use this? Essentially I plug it in here, right, find the split point and splitting variable such that the misclassification error in each of the regions is minimized, right, the sum of the misclassification error in each of the regions is minimized. So, remember that this has a very specific solution for minimizing. So, you do not really have to do this minimization, it is a fixed process, right. As soon as you find the region you just take the most abundant class in that region and set that as the class label for the entire region, okay, right. Is it clear how we do how we use the misclassification error? Great. So, the next thing we would like to look at is so one of the downsides of not being able to say anything very theoretically formal about decision trees is that it leads to dogmas. Okay. So, there are two camps of people who are very sure that this is the right way to do decision trees, right. They just keep fighting each other, right, and there are two very popular measures for doing classification using decision trees. Okay. So, the first one is called the Gini index. Okay. So, the Gini index was actually originally proposed by economists to look at disparity of wealth, right. So, let us look at the wealth distribution in a population. Okay. So, are there more rich people than poor people, or there lot more poorer people than rich people? I mean, how is the disparity of the distribution of wealth? Okay, that is essentially they introduced that. So, in that, in some sense you can roughly see that right here. So, are there more class 1 data points than class 2 data points or anything else? Suppose I have k classes, okay, in this particular region, are there lot more class 1 data points than 2 to k? If I am able to split my regions like that, then I am doing something good, right, because I can then output the class label as 1 and I will have less error, correct. So, if I am able to split regions such that the class distribution is actually skewed within that region, then I am doing something good, right. If the class distribution is uniform within that region, then I am doing something bad, right, because that is not a good region, because whatever class label I output, I am going to have a lot of error. But if the class distribution is skewed in favor of one class over the other, then I can output that class. In fact, the ideal leaf would be so skewed that there is only one class present, correct. So, the skewness measure is what I have to look for, and the more skewed the data is, the better. So, the Gini index is actually more popularly given by this form. Right. So, I do this for each region. So, this is for a single region, I do this for all regions. Okay. So, the other popular measure is cross entropy or deviance, but it is more popularly known by other name. I will give it to you in a minute, right. And this is given by this expression. This looks familiar to you guys? Shannon's entropy kind of thing, right. So, it is cross entropy. Where is the cross part, right? You have p hat mk and you have p hat mk there. So, why do they call it cross entropy? Okay. It turns out that that's the true output label distribution that you have, right, from the data that is given to you, right, and this is what you do for estimating. This is the estimated label distribution, and since you are using an unbiased estimator for the probabilities, you end up actually estimating the true probabilities. So that is why it is called cross entropy. This is supposed to be the that is the estimated, okay, and since you are anyway just counting the number of labels of each class and then dividing it and doing this, so it is essentially you end up with the same thing, okay. So the first one is the output label distribution, this is the estimated one, and so you essentially end up with the same thing, right. So another way of thinking about it is, okay, so if you look at the prevalence of the labels in the data, and I give you 100 data points, right, essentially if I am going to randomly pick a data point and look at the label, right. So this is the probability of seeing label k, correct, right. So going back to your ideas of Shannon's entropy, so if I have a sequence of 100 things, right, I mean I have k possible symbols that can occur, right, and this gives me the number of bits I need to encode these k symbols given the relative frequency of those symbols, right. If I had not done the splitting, right, if I had not split into m regions, right, if I had kept the data as a whole, I would have required some number of bits to encode the output label. Does that make sense? See, suppose let us look at it this way. So I have my data, so there are 400 data points of each class, okay, I will require some amount of bits to encode this, right, half, the entropy is, I mean the probability is half and half, I will need some amount of thing to encode this. Suppose I split it up so that I get I get two regions, one gives me 400 and 150, other gives me 0 and 250, right. So how many bits do I need to encode the output variable here? None, right, already is a big improvement. I do not need any bits for encoding the variable here, and here I will need some, but that certainly be less than this because we know half is the worst case, right. So in terms of the number of bits that I need for specifying the label, I have some improvement when I do the split. When I go from 400, when I go from there and I get these two splits, the number of bits I need has come down, right. So I have gained some information by doing the split, right. So how much information have I gained? Sorry, right. So the original entropy minus this quantity, right. So original entropy minus this quantity gives me the amount of information I have gained, right. So sometimes this is also known as the information gain criteria because of that, right. So either you minimize the cross entropy or you maximize the information gain, right. So information gain is essentially some constant minus this, so that is information gain, therefore you maximize the information gain or minimize entropy. So again the process is very simple, you for every feature j you try to find a split point S such that this or this is optimized, right, one of these three things, but the most popular are actually the Gini index and the cross entropy. So one thing I want to point out So when you are splitting this into two things, right, and then I have to find out the overall cross entropy or deviance, right. So what I need to do is, so the entropy of this will be weighted by 250, the entropy of this will be weighted by 550 divided by 800, right, both of these cases. So I will have to have some kind of weighted combination of the score or the Gini index, whatever it is, right. I have to have a weighted combination of the Gini index of the individual partitions or the deviance of the individual partitions. So I have to be careful about that, just do not add them up, okay, you have to use the weighted combination. So for this it is fine because it is per region. Yeah, so again you have to make sure you are combining it appropriately, right. Yeah.
Could you explain that 0 to 50? Why do we need 0?
Because there is only one output will come, right? Only one symbol is present. If there is only one symbol present, you do not need any bits to encode it because that is the only symbol that is present. Class 1 will not happen. So 400 means class 1 there are 400 data points, class 2 there are 400 data points. 0 to 50 means class 1 there are 0 data points, class 2 there are 250 data points. And the symbols I am talking about are the classes. Right, here there will be no occurrence of class 1, only class 2 will occur. Okay. So again one other caveat, if you are using this for classification, you are doing cost complexity pruning, right. Almost always you are supposed to use the misclassification error because that is eventually what you are trying to optimize. So you grow the tree with whatever error measure you want, but when you prune the tree, use the misclassification error, because at the end of the day I am going to evaluate you based on the misclassification error, not on the Gini index or information gain or anything. And these are in some sense they are relative measures, they are good for comparing one feature against the other, right, but the final performance measure is only misclassification error, right. So use that when you are doing the pruning. Okay, so I will stop here.